Hi, my name is Maya Shinabi. Welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about mental health, but more importantly, I wanted to talk about OCD. Now, I'm not a doctor or a mental health professional by any means, so please be cautious of what you take away from this video. This is purely my personal experience. Now, before my diagnosis, I used to think that people with OCD just like to wash their hands all day. I used to think people with OCD just like to clean all day. That's literally all I knew about OCD. I didn't know that you could have mental compulsions. I didn't know that OCD can impact you in a way where you can't even tell it's OCD, where it's completely inside your head, like just invisible. With that being said, my entire childhood, I was always very negative. I didn't like to go outside a lot. Like, I just liked being home. I liked being safe. Like, I liked being in bed. I liked sleeping. I like to read books. I like to do things by myself because it just felt more comfortable. I felt like when I was outside or, not in the comfort of my own home and the things that I knew, I felt like I was in danger. I felt like there was a threat somewhere. I didn't know exactly what that threat was, but it was always there. Like, it just always loomed over me. As I got older, this feeling of this danger, this anxiety, it only got worse and worse and worse. So I would withdraw from a lot of social situations. Like, if like I didn't feel that great, like I would skip out of school, or I would just not go to a lot of social events or situations, any opportunities that I had. I would rather stay at home. And every time I did this, that feeling would just get worse and worse and worse. That anxiety, every time I said no to a social situation or event or whatever, that feeling just got worse and worse and worse. By the time I was 16 years old, I was having like a full-blown panic attack like every other day. It didn't matter about what or when. Like, I didn't really know why I was having a panic attack. I just knew that I was having one. I just knew that I felt so uncomfortable on a daily basis, and that panic attack was a way of me like releasing that discomfort. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was awkward. I didn't have a lot of friends. Sometimes I'd do like weird things with my hands. I didn't know why. I would shake my leg a lot. I didn't know why. I would be like constantly fatigued. I couldn't sleep. I wouldn't want to wake up in the morning because constantly 24/7 I thought I was in danger. Like, my brain was in like fight or fight mode over this like unknown, like unseen threat. I didn't know why I was so scared. I just knew that I was scared. When I was 16, I did some more research and I was like, maybe I have anxiety, maybe I have social anxiety, maybe I have depression. So like when I said no to these social situations, like I would feel depressed, right? Because I would want to do things, right? I would want to play sports. I'd want to go outside and play. But I felt so uncomfortable. I felt like I couldn't do anything. So I became more depressed. There was people that I wanted to talk to, be friends with, but I felt like I couldn't. Like, I would feel paranoid about saying the wrong things and doing the wrong things. And so I just became very depressed because of that. So when I was 16 years old, I begged my parents to take me to a therapist. And after begging and crying and screaming and kicking and whatever, they finally agreed, and they took me to a therapist at this hospital. And I went there for a while, for like a month or so, and it didn't help me. I would go in there and I would tell her, I'm having all these negative thoughts, like these really strange thoughts, but I don't know why. And she would like reassure me, like she would validate my thoughts. She's like, it's okay. We all have these thoughts sometimes. You can journal about it. Just try not to think of it. Just try to distract yourself. But these thoughts were keeping me up at night. Like, I couldn't sleep. I would feel nauseous over these negative thoughts, over like seemingly everyday things. And she was telling me that everyone has these thoughts. But in my head, I'm like, if everyone is having these thoughts, society could not function. Like, people would go crazy if they had the thoughts that I had on a daily basis. For 5 years I was in this type of talk therapy, right? Not just in this one therapist's office, just like in and out, a lot of clinics in school, outside of school, and my college, and a lot of things. And it got to the point where in college, like, I couldn't even go to class, I couldn't even go to school. Like, I would sit down to write an essay, and if my essay wasn't perfect, I couldn't submit it. Like I wouldn't even submit my assignments, not because I was incapable of doing the assignments, because I physically felt nauseous and like I wanted to throw up. I did throw up a few times actually. And like, when I would get like my exam results back, if I got anything less than 100, I couldn't handle it. And I just thought I was a perfectionist, like, oh, it happens. But then I saw that everyone around me, even if I was smarter than them, they were still submitting their assignments. And because they were at least submitting their assignments, they were doing better than me, and they were passing their classes, whereas I couldn't even pass a single class in college. And I was so confused because I knew I wasn't stupid, I knew I wasn't dumb, I knew I can do the work, but I wouldn't submit anything unless it was 100% perfect, which it's not going to be 100% perfect. So I just wouldn't submit anything at all. Get to the point where I would lie to my parents and tell them that I was going to college, where in reality, I would just go to like the library and just sit there, or I would just eat junk food and I would just sit there because I couldn't handle going to class. I couldn't handle being imperfect in class. School isn't the only place where it really affected me. Another way that it affected me, I'd have really strange thoughts about like religion, about God, about gender, about my sexuality, and it drove me crazy. Like, I'll give you like a real life example right now. Like, you see I'm wearing like a sweatshirt, I'm wearing a hoodie right now, like a dark hoodie. And this hoodie, it's not very feminine. Like, this is something that men and women would both wear. So in my head, because I'm wearing this hoodie, my thought process, my OCD thought process would be like, why am I wearing a hoodie? Why am I not wearing makeup? Why didn't I do anything to my hair? Do I want to be a boy? Am I a boy? Am I transgender? Should I change my name? Should I change my gender? Should I change my sex? Should I change my birth certificate? Should I change my passport? Should I tell my parents? Should I tell social media? Should I tell my friends? Should I call suicide hotline? Should I call like some other hotline? Should I go to the hospital? Should I get hormone replacement therapy? Just constantly over and over, just pounding in my brain, all because I was wearing like a hoodie. It's actually insane when you think of it. But yeah, I was in therapy. I was in normal talk therapy for 5 years. And talk therapy actually doesn't work for OCD. It actually made my OCD worse, because I would go to these therapists, I would talk about my problems, like, hey, I think I'm transgender. And they'd be like, oh, it's okay, just be yourself. Like, we all have these questions sometimes. But for me, like, this fear, like incessant fear, like, I couldn't do my schoolwork, I couldn't keep a job, I got fired from like 2 jobs. And then it got to the point where like around 6 months ago, I couldn't leave my room. So around 6 months ago, like, I really couldn't leave my room. I didn't leave my room for around 2 to 3 months, unless it was for like food and like using the bathroom. And what happened leading up to this is that another obsession that I had was I would get really obsessed over people. And I know that sounds really strange, it sounds really weird, but I would have like compulsions based on people. I'd have like friends that I would just get really attached to, like really obsessed with. And you would think that I was in love with these people. Like, it's actually insane the things that would go through my head. It's like, it wasn't even codependency, it was like an addiction. It's like a thought addiction. And so yeah, I would get really obsessed with like some of my friends. And then later on, like, during COVID and stuff, and after COVID, like earlier this year, my obsessions got out of hand. I would get obsessed with people that I never met. Like, I would get obsessed with people that I only knew through the internet. So the last person that I was obsessed with, like in this way, was on social media. I only had a few interactions with this person, and it was creepy because I knew it was creepy. But anytime this person would post on their story, I would get anxious. I would get anxious looking at their pictures, at their profile. Like, you would think I was in love with them, but I wasn't, because this wasn't the first time it happened. But my brain kept telling me, no, it's this person, you need to be friends with this person, like, you really need this person, there's something about this person, you need to be their friends, you need to reply to their stories. And so I was having all these intrusive thoughts about this person, and I didn't know that this was intrusive thoughts. I didn't know I had OCD. I thought this is truly how I felt. So I started messaging this person, okay, and it got really bad. I was trauma dumping on this person. Not only was I trauma dumping on this person, but I was lying about my trauma, like, severely. Like, I was lying because in my brain, just texting them, getting like text messages back from them was a part of my compulsion. I needed like a validation thing. Like, I needed reassurance from them. and I kept texting them compulsively, and it got to the point where they told one of my friends that I was making them uncomfortable, and this literally messed up my entire brain. I was so nauseous 24/7. I would just cry in my room, and I never met this person. I would just cry in my room. So that's why I didn't leave my room for like 2 or 3 months. I don't know if it's coming out how concise I'm coming off across, but I really want to get this message across. I was obsessed with this person. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, if that person comes up to me, I'll be like, yeah, I had OCD and you were part of my compulsion. That doesn't mean anything. It's not personal. You just happen to be in the way. I gained so much weight during that time because I would just eat and eat and eat and eat. I had no friends, and it was so miserable and so painful. Like, I was scared to go outside because I thought if I went outside I would run into this person and they would laugh at me, or that they would share screenshots of it, things that traumatized them to them, even though half of it was like BS and I was lying to them. I would do weird things. I would block them, I would unblock them, I would message them again even after they said I made them feel uncomfortable, which is so messed up. And so yeah, I did a lot of weird things like this in the past. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to correct my ways. And so if I made anyone feel uncomfortable ever, if I said anything weird or inappropriate, I'm really sorry. I hope you'll forgive me. But I would just have intrusive thoughts that were racist, misogynistic, homophobic, transphobic, Islamophobic, anti Jew, anti Christian, just so many weird, obscene things. And I didn't know how to cope with them. So sometimes I did say wrong things, sometimes I said really weird things. And even nowadays, sometimes, I have to catch myself. And I tell all of my friends or people that I meet, people that I get like into deep like talks with, like, if I say anything that makes you uncomfortable, I want you to tell me. Like, I want to have an open conversation. It took me over 5 years to get a proper diagnosis, and it's just really sad that for 5 years no one was able to tell me that what was wrong with me. And that's why I think it's really important for people like me to make videos like this, because OCD, I think, is very misunderstood. Like I said, I used to think it's about like washing your hands or whatever, but it's so much more than that. And then I don't think a lot of people realize that, because that's not what we're taught. Now I'm like going off on a tangent. Like, this happens, another part of OCD. It's like I go from one thought to another. I kind of lose my way. I really just wanted to post this first video, just this initial video. I just wanted to tell people about my experience, and there's so much more I can talk about, but I'm gonna leave it here for now. There's so much more things I can talk about, so many weird things that I did in my past, and now looking back, like, I realized it was OCD. And I would love to continue making more videos, and hopefully the next videos, the production will be a little bit better. But thank you for watching. If you watched till the end, I'm gonna leave some resources down below that have really helped me. If you think you have OCD, get the help you need. It might take a while, but getting your diagnosis is really worth it. Getting the help that you need is really worth it. And I'm gonna leave this video here for now.